My goodness, what a time I've had getting this video out today. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March 22nd. March 22nd is the 81st day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 82nd in leap years, with 284 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is wing. Wing is a word that's usually a noun but occasionally a verb. As a noun, wing can refer to a movable organ for flying, which comes in pairs. One of the horizontal airfoils on either side of a fuselage of an airplane. An addition that extends a main building. A stage area out of sight of the audience. A unit of military aircraft. In flight or formation, wing refers to a position on the side and just to the rear of another aircraft. Wing can also mean the side of military or naval formation, a group within a political party or legislature or other organization that holds distinct views or has a particular function, a hockey player stationed in a forward position on either side, or a barrier that surrounds the wheels of a vehicle to block splashing water or mud. As a verb, wing serves as a synonym for fly, to travel through the air, to be airborne, or travel over an area of land or sea in an aircraft. Looks like there are yet more uses of the word wing, but I think that's enough for now. Wing. I had recorded this, and when I sent it to the computer to edit, instead of being 8.5 minutes long, it was nearly 26 minutes long. Something happened and made it go slow-mo. I thought, oh boy, I can't do that. What is wrong? I don't know what happened, some weird computer glitch, and I tried over and over again, and my husband said, why don't you just voice over? And I said, that's a good idea. That's what I'm going to do. So you get to look at one still picture while I talk. Alrighty, I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my sources are included in the show notes and ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Remember that you can share this video with others by email and in your social media. Also, there's a link in the show notes to my This Day in History playlist where you can see all of them if you want to. And I will be sure and put a link to that up in the corner there for you. And with that, we're going to start with March 22nd of 1508, when Ferdinand II of Aragon commissioned Amerigo Vespucci, chief navigator of the Spanish Empire. You may or may not know, I don't know if you know this or not, but the American continents are named after Amerigo Vespucci because of his maps. The Massachusetts Bay Colony outlawed the possession of cards, dice, and gaming tables on March 22, 1630. A woman named Anne Hutchinson was expelled from the Massachusetts Bay Colony on March 22, 1638, for the crime of religious dissent. I go into this more in depth in last year's episode for March 22nd, which I will link up there in the corner for you. Now, we've mentioned the Stamp Act before. This was a big point of contention between the American colonies and Britain. Basically, it was a way for the Crown to impose a monopoly on colonists, requiring them to get certain supplies from approved British vendors, and then also, oh by the way, imposing stiff taxes on those same supplies. There's plenty more to this story, but I mention it now because it was on March 22nd, 1765, that the Stamp Act was imposed on the colonists. In retrospect, we can see this as the beginning of the end of America being a British colony. March 22, 1794 sees the passage of the Slave Trade Act of 1794, which banned the export of slaves from the United States and prohibited American citizens from outfitting a ship for the purpose of importing slaves. On March 22, 1871, in North Carolina, William Woods Holden became the first governor of a U.S. state to be removed from office by impeachment. He was posthumously pardoned in 2011 by the North Carolina Senate in a 48-0 vote. The Spanish National Assembly abolished slavery in Puerto Rico on March 22, 1873. This is the birthday of Chico Marx, born March 22, 1887. He was one of the Marx Brothers comedy family. He lived to the age of 74. This is the birthday of William Shatner, born March 22, 1931. Probably best known for his portrayal as Captain Kirk in the Star Trek TV shows and movies, he turns 90 in 2021. Can you believe that? Happy birthday, William Shatner. On March 27, 1972, the Equal Rights Amendment, which provides for the legal equality of the sexes and prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, was passed by the U.S. Senate and sent to the states for ratification. Interestingly, it was ratified by 30 states, but failed to achieve the required 3/4 of states' ratification to become the 27th Amendment. There is a 27th Amendment by now, but it's not this one. In related news, 25 states have crafted and adopted their own equal rights amendments at the state constitution level. From the Don't Try This at Home Kids Department, on March 27, 1978, Karl Wallenda of the Flying Wallendas died after falling off a tightrope suspended between two hotels in San Juan, Puerto Rico. The Wallendas were a circus act and group of daredevil stunt performers who performed high-wire acts without a safety net. I guess the danger of working without a net is part of the thrill for both performer and audience, but that had to be a terrible thing to see. The Intel Corporation shipped its first Pentium chips on March 22, 1993. And that's all I have for you today. Hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. Although what is going on with the transfer of video from phone to computer, that's a mystery. I haven't figured that one out, but hopefully this will work. Anyway, as always, links to my sources are included in the show notes, and I'll be sure and get the link to the Day in History playlist and last year's episode up in the iCards for you. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Known as why does that say the 20th? We're looking at the 21st. Oh, we're still recording. Okay, good. Thank goodness for editing. 95, Mississippi. Okay. The Volkswagen microbus. So many mistakes. I don't know how all that's going to go together, or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.